are live. We're live. Guys, we are live. They are quite... Okay, let me
Hello, everyone.
They are quite... Hello, guys. How's everyone doing? How's everyone doing? Ekko is the ILE. Ekko is ILE. Dang.
We're just jumping right into it, aren't we?
We're jumping like that, guys, with no lubrication, with no, like, foreplay? That's kind of fucking intense. Shit.
Yo, take me out to dinner first before we start talking correlations.
Oh, shit. You spilled water, because that shit was funny. Bro, that doesn't even ask for fucking any information. He just wants the action straight away. I mean, I respect it. I'm also a direct man, so what's the point of not being direct? Yeah. Anyway, so how is everyone, guys? Jeez, Ross has no filter. Actually, you'll be surprised. I do have a filter. In fact, my filter has improved over this few years. There was a period where I had no filter. People thought I had Tourette's. Like, literally, like, that's how bad it is. To the point, like, do I want to bring him to meet my friends? Do I really want to risk it all? It's like, that's the question. That's the question. Yeah. How I do.
Yo, off topic. People find one or two, like, trauma-based psychologies. Like, they find new, like, mental illnesses, and they just start over-applying it to everyone they know. Oh my god, you, like, cheated me in Monopoly, so now you have antisocial personality disorder.
Oh, okay. I fuck with that. So, oh yeah, you're a narcissistic. You have a narcissistic personality disorder. You have a narcissistic personality disorder, okay? Because you sound arrogant. You sound like you think you're the best. Enjoy the label.
And you know what? You're hot and cold, okay? Because you're disagreeing with me here, but you agree with me another time. You're bipolar disorder.
How'd you know? How'd you know, though?
Yo, clip him. Chat, clip him.
Yes, guys, don't expose me. Oh my god, I'm so bipolar. Okay, guys, let's get in on somebody, Professor Somebody. Of course, Professor Somebody. I love his takes. The takes are always there. He always has takes. Social 6, a new take. No, moving the fuck on. Anyway, yeah. I'm joking, but on a serious note, okay? I would not type Caitlyn anything other than Enneagram 1. This woman is not a head type, and that's it from me. Okay.
People are still tuning in. Are we ready to jump into the Arcane deep dive?
Yeah, guys, they don't want wasting any time looking kind of.
Yeah, they're just ready to go.
That's Adzvav, which is very suspicious name. Possible decapitation. Looking quite dapper today, Mr. Rusty. I mean, do you call your grandma Rusty? The fuck is that, Rusty? I'd let you sell me a used car. Would you let me sell you a new car, though? That's a question, or a better question, actually. Because it sells, like a used car, that's kind of fucking easy. My grandma can do it, and she's dead. So, yeah. Anyway. Okay,
Sheba was asking, how is my health? How am I doing? I'm feeling a lot better. I'm still extremely congested right now. But
he sounds a bit... No. He's a bit sicky. He's a sicky boy. But not that bad. He still sounds very great for everyone. Come on. He sounds great. He sounds great, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, let's hit it. I don't actually typo. I don't like alternatives because they're pointless. Do you know why? Because if something isn't there, it's not there, meaning it doesn't exist. And if it doesn't exist, there's no alternative, right? Think about it. I'm trolling right now, kind of trolling. But why is Vander social 9 and not social 8? Which, by the way, I'm sure me and Mr. Ring have both kind of been back and forth with him being an 8 core. I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't thinking he's an 8 core at all. Ring, I want to know your take. Did you ever consider social 8 for Vander? Or did you be like, fuck no, he's not gonna be a social 8 ever?
I think you know what? I think it's a good place to start this arcade deep dive. Okay, I think that Vander's character is extremely interesting because he comes across as this person who is clearly involved in social problems, group versus groups, group thinking. I have my people, they have
Yep.
their people. There's
Mm.
conflict, and you can easily think because of his overtly, especially in the beginning, violent
Yep.
nature,
Yep.
and you see it kind of pop out throughout the
Yep.
series, you would think this guy is a social E8.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. Hey, a lot of us were thinking it too,
Yeah.
like, okay, this is a guy that wants to band everyone together. He wants to bring energy to these problems. He wants to unite as brothers and go against these people that are clearly oppressing them. Piltover was oppressing the Undercity, now, called somewhat as Zon. I think it's called Zon now.
Yeah. Zone.
It
Yeah.
wasn't really clear at the end of the series that they finally call it Zon. So, um, it's super interesting. I think that I did consider Social 8 at one point, Rust. Definitely for sure.
I did consider it for the same reason that you mentioned, which is there's some flashbacks of him being very violent. Violent, like he was very excessive and violent. But I had this dilemma because I look at him and I'm like, there's zero last. There's no excess with Vander. And the truth is, like, what's gonna be the argumentation for the social aid? Well, he just overcame his demons. He just has no neurotic need of the social aid. Like, that doesn't make sense. And if anything, I would type him social 9, to be honest with you, because that's how I would type him. He seems to be very community oriented, but much more passive and much more peaceful than I would ever compare Vander's reaction to Vi, which I believe might be the social aid. There's a very big difference. There's a very big difference to how did they react to people wanting to kind of assault them and get into the Undercity and do shit to get to the zone and hurt them and and cause damage to them. How did she react? She thought we need to fight. We cannot stand still. And even Sevika, which is another 8 core, had the same mentality. Like, I cannot be with you, Vander, here while they're trying to take our shit and we're just gonna let them go. That doesn't make any sense. It's not very Enneagram 8, to be honest. I think an Enneagram 8, if someone's trying to invade them, their natural response would be like, oh, we need to fucking decapitate all of them, mass decapitation. And you'd have to stop them. Like, hey, bro, like maybe that's a bit too much. Mass decapitation, that's a bit too fucking much. That's how I would see it personally. So that is my own take on Vander. I think social 9, in my opinion, for Vander works.
And this is, I think, even in season 1, I went from thinking maybe E8 earlier on to
Yeah.
E9 as well. I think
Yep.
that what happened here was a merging occurred. And a merging occurred because we know the E9, there's a self-erasure in the E9. And there's a tendency to merge with others. In the social E9, there's a tendency to merge with the particular group that they're occupying in,
Yeah.
where the values of the group, the feelings of the group, the plights of the group.
Yeah.
That's
It's like
the
they
same
lose
feeling.
their identity. They become this host of the people, the true host of the
Yeah.
people, the true activist, and the true
Yes.
champion of the people. In a sense where there's no underlying motivation of I just want to mass decapitate everyone, so I'm gonna champion people so we can mass decapitate everyone. It's
So
more
you-
like I just lose myself in this group.
And
I lose
you-
my identity, my desires even. I'm literally my group's desires. I have no desires. Just it's the group, it's the people.
And I wanted to add a bit of transformation because we love transformation here at Typology Odyssey.
Yeah, of course.
Social 9 makes way more sense for Vander actually earlier on in the series. Of course, he remains being a social 9, but he becomes less neurotic by the time we see them when Vi and Powder, aka Jinx, and the rest of them become like they're like teenagers or something, right?
Yeah.
And the reason being is that the social 9, one of the growth paths of the social 9 is to detach from the values of the group and start acknowledging their own desires and their own feelings of what is right and wrong. So Vander started going against the crowd. Most people at the Undercity at that point wanted to continue fighting. He became neurotically less attached to what the people his groups wanted and what he wanted, what he felt is right.
It's so.
That is why
It
we
was
like him
basically
so much.
growth. It was basically kind of growth.
He became an outlier, and it isolated him, and eventually it got him killed for not facing Piltover ever again. But that was him being less neurotic, which I think was a great example of a
Wow.
social 9 transforming into a better version of
Wow.
himself. That
I did
Yeah.
not think of this, actually. I did not think of this. That's crazy. Okay, let's see. What do you think of Ekko SP4? I've seen this take. Nonsensical garbage, brain rot. Okay, I know. It's a Brazilian. I love Brazilians, by the way. But it's likely from this kind of type of community. They all sit there, they jerk each other off, all right? Taking turns. And then he comes in. He knows typology. In a sense, he understands the theory. But he applies the theory so fucking bad that none of it makes any fucking sense. How are you gonna look at someone like Ekko and think, self-preservation 4. He feels a sense of lacking. He is fucking coped. And he has this feeling that he's a monster. He's broken. He's an image core. He's fucked. Like, really? Why the fuck would he be an image core? Why the fuck would he be an SP4? Where do you see envy? Where do you see a sense of lacking? Doing shit to be recognized. Enduring things to be recognized. Some takes are unacceptable, and some takes will lead you to mass decapitation. This is one of those. Line them up, and this is it.
So we're moving on to Ekko now. Let's
You can talk about Ekko. Yeah. Because SP4. Come on, it's your turn.
You know what? SP4, because he cared about other people.
Oh fucking! I don't know why. I don't know why.
You know, SP4 because he worked hard for others. You know, Vander should also be an SP4. And let's keep moving on. Let's make Caitlyn an SP4 too, because all of them have the same thing in common, where they worked hard for others and did what is right. Because that's SP4, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, Ekko is a social instinct for sure. I love Brazilians, guys. Literally, dude, I will be the champion of Brazil. That's what the fuck's gonna happen. Social instinct for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think so, you know. And he seems like a head type. To my Brazilians in the chat, rusted Brazilian logi. That is just intense, guys. That's intense. That's some intense racism. What do you think of Sasuke? I don't give 2 fucks about MBTI. 0 fucks. I give less fucks about MBTI than I care about I don't know MBTI actually. You know, yeah. So no, fuck that.
I want to actually break down the not the the Ekko typing, and I wanted to say that I think at a core level, this is someone who is an E7. I would say that this is a person,
right.
And you can see it a lot more when he is a child as well. He's inventive,
idealistic as hell,
and is someone who's very sanguine, gregarious,
right?
Wants to explore the world, you know. And you know what? That all gets taken away from him. That childish love of life, because of the way he grew up. And you're gonna see a lot of Enneagram examples in this series become that way. The loss, and there's a theme of a loss of innocence.
Yeah, they all just become rugged and fucking PTSD and just, oh my god, you know, it's a mess.
That is a very important theme in Arcane, and you can see it happen to almost every single character. Do you remember in like the first episode, Vi was like, "This city will know our name," and that completely became so irrelevant to her entire.
I realized, yeah. That's why I was so confused about her typing, because I'm like, okay, I can see you, I can see the social age shit, makes perfect sense. Then in the first season later on, I'm like, the fuck? Oh, you fucking a Lone Ranger now? You know?
Yeah.
It was like, what happened? And I understand, you know, she became PTSD. She's like, it's survival now, you know? It's kind of survival
Everything
now.
is survival mode, and there's definitely a distortion in all the characters because of that. And because of that, initially I even considered SP7 for Ekko, because I was thinking this person is so rugged. Person's an
Right, right,
anti-idealist.
right, right,
This
right, right.
person has a
Yeah.
family unit, and they only care about this one particular family unit. And you know what? He's just ensuring his own livelihood. But I have to say, looking at the entire series, it's very hard for me to see Ekko as not this person who's always kind of been invested in the overall experience of the Undercity, aka Zon. Someone who is not just looking at his particular group, and of course he made that tree area where he
Yeah,
saved his
yeah,
people there,
yeah.
you
But
know.
it was more
But
than that.
it
At the end of the
it was
day, it was always
never
more
enough.
than that. Because the Fireflies, he was still like having missions. He was pulling missions and shit. He wasn't just
Yeah,
doing, oh, let's
yeah.
focus on my own little thing. He was trying to change things, trying to impact things on a bigger scale. Because that's why he had the Fireflies, you know? Like that was kind of I mean, in this, in a sense, you'd earlier type him social aid than you type him SP7, at least in my opinion, you know?
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck would I type him SP7? I don't see
It's a
any
really
reason
good
for that.
point. It's a really good point. I think this is someone who is obsessed with the idea that he has the cure to people's problems in the Undercity. And of course, he is not someone who identifies openly with that image, but acts in that way
I mean,
and wants
would
others to
I
see
say
that
he's like the
ideal.
best example of the social seven? Probably
Absolutely
fucking
not.
not, you know. But
Yeah. The thing about Ekko as a character, right? And this is the goal that we're gonna have. None of these characters are gonna be a perfect one-to-one fit, you know, because they're not real characters. But one of the things about Ekko is, in comparison to, let's say, like a Jace or even a Viktor, Ekko is a pure sweetheart angel in the series. He does nothing wrong. No, at no point, Ekko has no character flaws. He is not a character.
that's
He is
true.
a character you're supposed to like
That's
because he
true.
does everything right. What
That's
has
true.
Ekko done wrong in the way the other characters have done wrong? Vi is close, but she's allowed to fuck up a little bit more to
Yeah.
develop her as a character. But Ekko is a sweet angel that has done nothing wrong the whole series. Oh yeah, that's true. Veronica said, except being able to read the room. Yes, I was like, he does have that problem. But other than that, he's done every single thing right. He is an angel. So that's
Yeah,
why Ekko
that's a
becomes hard
small
to
flaw.
type him.
That's a minor issue with him, you know. But let's see what other people are saying. Ba, ba, ba.
So
What
for
type?
those,
What type is
sorry,
Sevika? How would you differentiate?
oh,
I mean, to
Sevika.
me, Sevika seems like a clear 8 core, you know, mainly because zero head type shit, zero head type shit. She's just there's, and this is one of the biggest differentiation between 6 and 8. I think people think, you know, 6 is just more reactive. No, 6 is a fucking more intellectualized. They're more intellectualized, like Silco. But Sevika is much more straightforward. Sevika is much more instinctive in a sense, relying on her strength, relying on that kind of her ability to fight, her ability to overcome. But Silco is a much better example of someone who's actually Section 6. He relies on a more creating a certain image of strength, of intimidation. But he's not this instinctual kind of fighting machine that just jumps into fucking action because it's necessary, you know? No, he's a thinker. At the end of the day, Silco is a smart dude who relies on his intellect to kind of get around situations and solve situations, either by implementing different tactics of intimidation or whatever it might be, you know? So that's my take on Sevika's type. What do you think, Ring?
I'm honestly with you. I can see why some people may consider a sexual 6 maybe for her. But if
Right.
we go down to the core level, you know, it's very tough for me to see fear with her at all. You know, maybe a need for authority in some ways, but at the same time, she actually kind of reminds me of how Vi was at the beginning of the series. Both
Yeah, they were
E8s,
quite
who
similar. Yeah.
they were very similar. Like, we should be fighting. Why are we being oppressed? There's no reason. We have the strength. We have the
Yeah.
desire. That should be enough to put us there to go against
Right.
Piltover.
Right. Right.
And I think Sevika has always kind of been like that. I think the confusion comes because, you know what, in some ways she was a bit of a conformist when she found some people to
Like
follow.
Silco.
For
She
example,
was
Silco.
Silco's right hand, you know, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and she didn't lead her own thing. But I don't necessarily think all E8s are born leaders. I think that SP8s are great at being your right hand man too, and I think that they acknowledge that if they believe in that goal and they respect you.
Yeah.
So I think that so far what we have Vander, social 9, we
Yep.
have Ekko, social 7, and we have Sevika,
SP8.
self-preservation 8. That's what we have so far for people tuning in.
I find it funny when people blame everything on one character. I feel like if someone blames everything on one character, it kind of says something about them. They've missed the whole point of Arcane. If you blame everything on one character, you've missed the point of Arcane. Because there's no such thing as one character fucks up. All of them fucked up. It's a mass fuck up. It's a mass fuck up. And and the morality is not even as obvious. Morality here isn't as black and white. That's what makes this is what makes shows very interesting, is when morality isn't just play, those are the bad guys, those are the bad guys. It makes you question, yeah, but are the fucking bad guys actually bad? Because I'm sure they're fighting for something. They're fighting for their own survival of their own people. So that's what makes this so nuanced, which creates better tension, better character development, and gives you stakes. You need stakes to be able to, high stakes, to be able to actually enjoy the show, because many shows, he's a villain, he's bad, and he just wants to do evil things for no fucking reason. No one really finds shit like this interesting, so that's my take on this.
I 100% agree, and
Thank you for your answers to my question. Cytology.
That's really funny.
You are welcome.
Ringed City still a lot. I can't even say that, dude. I was gonna add to what you were saying about the overall story trying to be blamed on one person.
Right.
I know first season, a lot of people did that for Jinx, aka Powder, she just did everything. All the other.
She was the sole fucking reason of a fuck up. Oh my god, the ending in season 1, everyone hates her. She's the reason why everything fucking crazy, crazy bitch, right? Oh my god. So I understand that, but in the season 2, it's not as simple as she plays a different role. She plays a different role where there is another enemy, and then she kind of becomes a beacon of hope, rather than just like this number one enemy, number one cause. There's bigger enemies. Then it's also a cliche story, two cities fighting against one another, but then they join forces to fight a bigger foe, a foe that would remove both of them from existence, a threat so big that everyone would be gone. So they then join forces. It's a very cliche story, but it works. It works because it gives us a reason to believe. Why would Undercity and why would they both cooperate? What the fuck why would they? They hated each other since season 1. So let's give them a reason to band together and fight something that is honestly extremely dangerous.
It's just so interesting because no one's hands are really clean. I mean, there's certain characters, maybe like Ekko, right? But even Heimerdinger, who's said, "Oh my god, don't do this, don't do that," and everyone was like redeemed in season 2. But Heimerdinger has been one of the power leaders of Piltover since the beginning.
Yeah,
he is indirectly or directly contributed to the status of the Undercity and how people live there for hundreds of years. He
plays a part. He plays a part in the fuckfest, and he's like, oh no, we shouldn't have Arcane. We shouldn't have the fucking hex tech. It's so fucked up. And it's funny because he kind of was right. He kind of was right, but that doesn't mean his methods of going around shit.
Yeah,
they're outdated. They are outdated.
I know, Veronica. We typed Vander as social 9 just to clarify.
Yeah, Vander social 9. Okay, let's see. Shibo felt a lot of empathy with Silco. Yeah, I actually felt fucking bad for him at the end of the season 1 because I'm like, Jesus Christ, it was fucked, the situation, and I kind of feel bad that he died because he was such a great character. Oh my fucking god, such a great character.
Mm-hmm.
Toby's portrayal of Spider-Man. I'm not sure if this is Enneagram of Spider-Man or Enneagram of Arcane. Maybe I fucked up the title.
All right, so we talk about Silco now. We talk about
Silco.
his
So
Enneagram stuff?
Silco, I would say Silco. You guys know, right? Sexual sex. I said sexual sex, and I gave some reasoning. So that's my take. I already kind of gave my take.
I think he is a great example of a sexual six. Most people don't argue this, right? I think he's like one of the more unanimous sexual six examples.
He is.
One of the things that you can really see in this character is his desire not only to eliminate fear, to be invulnerable to the pressures of Piltover and have the city of Zon in spite of all the pressure from a very superior enemy in a lot of ways. He wants Piltover to feel fear from Zon instead. There's a very specific counterphobic idealism almost with the way he wants to run the Undercity, aka Zon. And I think it's so interesting because you see a lot of sexual six characters kind of be in this way. It's not enough to be self-evidently strong. He wants the enemy, aka Piltover, to feel afraid. That's how strong he wants Zon to be. That's how he created.
And when he creates this fear, when you create this fear in the other person, they will not attack you. They're less likely to invade and do stuff. So it's a countermeasure.
Exactly. That countermeasure is what really sold me for sexual six for him. Is it wasn't enough. He wanted people to be afraid of Zon. He wanted people to be afraid of him. That's how he kept order. Very interesting character. Definitely died very early on. I wish I wanted more of him, but this show is good, so it will show you that people will die and people that you actually do care about. And I just want to add a little bit about his relationship with Jinx. He also, because we're focusing on transformation, he also became less neurotic as time went on because he focused on his relationship with his let's say spiritual daughter, Jinx. Less on this idea of causing others fear to show invulnerability. He gave up on his dream of Zon.
Yeah, for her. Yeah.
For her.
Yeah.
That is a sexual six becoming less neurotic, giving up control, giving up ways.
Isn't it crazy how, despite the fucking horrific circumstances, both Vander and both Silco achieved almost a sense of growth at the end of their story? That's kind of crazy, isn't it? Because you think it would be the other way around.
Right.
But no, that was the moment that they defeated the Neuroses in a sense. That was kind of the last moment, the last stand, against the neurotic need. That's what it is. That's what it was.
Both characters mirrored being these rebels against an oppressor and giving it all up because they realized that it's even more specific, their adopted daughters or children are more important than this idea of indulging their neurotic fixations. They're going to protect what they have, what is important. And I love the fact that Silco died feeling the same way that Vander did at the end. They both agreed on that. And I didn't put that together until you said that there, Russ. That was really interesting.
We sometimes you get those insights, Once you start talking, you get those insights. But let's see what Professor Somebody says. Heimerdinger is first and foremost neurotically fixated with fear of change.
Agreed.
He is one of the most obvious social sixes to me. Even his whole journey with Hextech or magic, his attitude to magic is literally just fear. It's fear-based. It's like, we cannot understand the arcane. We cannot understand magic. It cannot be controlled. And because we don't have the scientific tools to understand magic, it is unpredictable. And because it is unpredictable, we do not fuck with it. And that was his whole point. Even when the Hextech had potential, both Jace and Viktor saw it, and both Jace and Viktor said, we can save people. We can actually do something with this technology. Like, look at this. This is amazing. While first thought of Heimerdinger was, you have to destroy it. I've seen something like this before. This is not good. This is going to end badly. So it's a lot of negativism, of course. And in the end, you can say, he was right. He was right. Yes, in this case, he was right. But you can still see the neurotic need of just because, think about it this way. Just because you have a social six who is neurotic and fearful about a specific thing, that doesn't necessarily mean he's wrong. Right? He can be right, but he's still neurotically fixated on fear. And that's it. That's my take on Heimerdinger. Very, very clear social 6.
And you explained it extremely well there. I don't have too much more to add. I want to talk about definitely how he became less neurotic over time as well. We knew the Heimerdinger from
Right, I know what you're saying. Okay, let's go.
Because I really like this aspect of destroying the transformation. He went from someone who was so deeply invested into reducing the unknown variable of total annihilation.
Possible consequences,
to being someone who is more willing
to experiment,
go with the flow. You know, let get some space go between his anxiety and even indulge in things that weren't just for ways to ensure that he and his people will be safe. Bro picked up the fucking banjo or some shit, you know. Like he was like chilling. He was in an alternate reality with almost no way of coming back.
Yep.
And dude picked up playing the banjo.
But not only like, that, but look how comfortable he became for Hextech, with Hextech, helping Ekko to use Hextech in a way to get what he wants. He utilizes Hextech, and he overcame this fear. You can utilize the tools. He knew you can utilize the tools to get what you want, and that is what he learned with this journey. Initially, he was like, "No, this has to be done." Over time, he came around, and then we see him utilizing Hextech, and in the end, probably sacrificing himself. You know, that's kind of like the end of the.
Him sacrificing himself, his greatest fear.
Yeah.
The fear of annihilation.
The bro was immortal.
All of that.
You know, the guy was immortal. So think about that. You know?
Yeah. My God, that was great. That his character became so much more fan favorite in the second season.
Yep. Okay, let me see. Okay, so Viktor social 6. No. There is zero trace of social 6 within Viktor. Viktor is, in my opinion, when I was watching him, one of the best examples of idealized social 5. I honestly was like, wow, I love this type. I love this fucking type, you know? Because just everything. The guy, think about this. When you, I'm going to tell you the difference between like a social 6, which is Heimerdinger, with Viktor, who is a social 5. And the difference is huge when you look at them, right? You see Heimerdinger, who is a scientist, a man of science, a man of concrete science. We don't understand magic because we have no science to understand it. So it's very linear. He's very linear with logic. But compared to Viktor, Viktor goes outside. He's an outside of the box kind of a guy. I would even say he's abstract. He's not necessarily just fixated on this logic, on this.
He pushes the envelope.
He pushes the envelope in the unknown, and that is a big difference. There's no fear. His actions are not really guided by fear. It's innovation. We can help people. We can have an impact. This technological breakthrough can cause change for humans. In cases of Viktor, we see a lot of 5 because what did he in the end wanted to do? He did not believe that humans should have free will. They should not have emotions. So he made them into those beings that have no feeling really. They have no pain. They have no selfishness. They are controlled by him, right? And there's no emotion. Which no emotion equals no crime. No emotion equals no evil. That was the mentality of Viktor. No emotion equals no evil. He viewed emotion as something that in a sense should be eradicated. And we see this early on. He had a very hard time being emotionally opened. Emotionality was simply rejected for Viktor, even romantically. The guy was asexual. The guy was completely romantically decapitated, okay? There's no love, there's no connection with emotionality. People tried to connect with him. There was this wall. There was this indifference, this aloofness. So that's my take on Viktor. You can talk about Viktor because I know that's a juicy topic.
Yes, there's a lot of people who come through and say, man, what if Viktor is like a social 6, you know? Especially looking at the second season, a lot of people were confusing, you know, a lot of what naturally occurs on E5 with, look how afraid he is. Look how much he's controlling everything. That's a social 6. But let's go back to the beginning. Who is Viktor? Viktor is actually someone who is quite ambitious. He
Oh yeah.
rivals Jace in his ambition, and we'll talk about Jace soon. We're gonna keep them side by side because, of course, it's cute like
Yeah.
that, right? But we're talking about someone who needed to push the envelope. The social five is the E5 that wants to stand out in society in a very particular way. They want to be a subject matter expert. They want to know all that it is for a couple of different subjects, maybe even one, but they want to know everything about it. And even then, it's not enough. The problem with avarice is it never feels like it's enough. They always feel like they're lacking when it comes to vital life resources, similar to the E4, but when it comes towards more of an image issue. The E5 is someone who is stingy, who feels like they don't have enough. And when it comes to the social five, so when the E5 Enneagram messes with the social instinct, you have someone who wants to define themselves in the social sphere with their expertise, but not only just being the smartest in the room, they want to know esoteric knowledge about the thing that they're
about
an expert
the unknown.
in.
And look how far Viktor has gone. He went to a place of knowledge that was completely undiscovered by any other being.
Yes.
He reached a pinnacle that is not even achievable for anyone else.
He wanted to be the person who's at the cutting edge, who knows things that no one else on the planet knows, and he was driven by that. Sure, there's also the subplot of him not wanting to die, the subplot of him wanting to walk, but at the end of the day, Viktor wanted to change the world. He wanted to know things that people didn't. He wanted to be the arbiter of Hextech and Arcane itself. And that is what drove him down the path of trying to solve so many of these issues, and eventually connecting with what you said earlier, Russ.
Yes.
Where he went down a dark path where he wanted to end all suffering in a very controlling way.
And he became he became even more
five.
five-ish. He indulged even in the neurotic need even deeper, because
Yes.
there was part of his humanity that he was completely losing. He was just completely out of touch with it, completely driven by his ideals at the end of the
That's a really cool
Arcane.
part, because some of the main characters, Victor's a main character, Jace is a main character, Vi and Jinx main characters,
Yep.
Caitlyn's a main character.
Yep.
You're gonna notice that all the main characters, they actually become more neurotic throughout the series, because of course they had more time to develop, they had more screen time, but they became more neurotic.
Yep.
And then at the end they lost their neuroticism, but you'll see them go from being okay to really fucked. To really
at the
fucked.
end of the, it's deterioration, bro. Like, they're going downhill. There's no happy endings here, bro.
Nope.
I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
But to me the ending was beautiful, though. I genuinely, some people hate it. I just don't think they could have done it better. The Jace and the Viktor, and it's kind of pissed me off, because I see people, degenerates, right? Fucking degenerates everywhere, go on fucking Reddit. Oh my god, we're shipping fucking Jace. He's slurping fucking Viktor off. Viktor's fucking pegging him, and it's like, bro, what is this shit? I just don't think it's and it's funny because it was brotherhood. It was a brotherly fucking bond between two of them. They were truly best friends. They were fucking best friends, that friendship that goes so deep. And I thought that was amazing, to be honest. So the degenerates should maybe have respect. I think they should have respect, because it's a concept of friendship, and you're just fucking just destroying it with some fucking degenerate fantasies. It's fucked.
I think that with Viktor and Jace, I'm not even upset, when people want to ship them together or whatever. But I think that people misunderstood their character.
They do.
They have actual relationships. I'm not sure exactly what YouTube word to use, but same-sex relationships have been shown on the show, and they were really great ones, And they weren't
so why are you
oh my god,
forcing?
everything's
That's what I'm saying. There's no need. We already have them. So, I'm not sure Arcane is scared of putting them in.
Definitely not. Definitely not. And it kind of disrespects the relationship that Jace and
that's
Mel have.
that. You see why I'm pissed? To me, it is an insult to turn something that it isn't into something else. And it devalues the value of that friendship. It devalues the meaning of the friendship, and what it means that you can have the friendship with someone and that shit transcends reality. That shit transcends everything. That kind of fucking loyalty, you know? And now it's kind of like, oh, they must be homosexual. It's like that's where the fuck it is at, you know? It's tragic.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? This is a great transition into Jace's Enneagram
Jace,
analysis. Would you like to go first, Russ? Because I have a lot to say.
you have a lot to say. Cause it's your time. We're not gonna talk. By the way, believe. Listen, Jace. I don't understand why people say Jace is an ILE. Okay, okay. So what? Let's start this. Let's break down the character. Who is Jace? Jace is a man who, at the end of the day, whose whole mission was to create something to help people, for people to work better, for people to actually cure their diseases, for the Hextech to change the world, for the Hextech to make people's lives easier, to weaponize it in a way where it can be beneficial for people. So, always thinking of the future, very future-oriented, extremely idealistic man, right? But I'm not sure why the fuck people think he's an ILE when we have the true ILE, which is Ekko. Do you think Ekko and Jace are the same? Because Ekko, in effect, which many people don't know, is much more, actually much more grounded and much more. There's something more raw about him. While Jace is again, pure idealism. How can I make my idealistic vision come into fruition? So he's an LIE. Okay, I don't want to hear ILE takes because that's gonna be mass decapitation. So from now on, everywhere we go, we repeat those words. LIE, Jace. That's it. If you hear someone saying ILE, decapitation. Not literally, of course, but you get my point, right? So no, we don't promote this take. It's evil. It's a bad take. It's evil. Now, Social 7, in my opinion, one of the most amazing examples, one of the most obvious examples of a Social 7. I don't even know where to start. You know, initially I did not really understand Jace because I'm like, this guy kind of seems to be image oriented. Then you saw a lot of the image core typings. He's a social 3. He must be a 3 core. I think that was his first typing. And I'm like, I don't really like this guy as much because initially he's like involved in the politics. He definitely has those idealistic dreams. But he's kind of, I couldn't read him. I couldn't fucking read him because I'm like, yeah, he's fucking nice, you know? He does the right things and shit. But does he actually give a fuck about that? But in the end, sacrifice, bro. That's the fucking name of the game. Sacrifice. And that's what he does. So to me, an amazing example of the Social 7. But I'm sure the Social 7 himself will be able to answer the question. But
And it was so interesting because you saw the public opinion on him when way back then when season 1 came out.
I did
Jace
see Love 3.
E3. And that makes sense. You know, back then people thought that an E7 who was conscious of their image, that's just an E3. And of course we've learned more as a community. It's not that simple. Jace has been someone whose character arc started as almost like a weird survivor's guilt. Like, why did I survive? Why did my mother not die? This arcane magic saved me. And now I'm in a community where everyone tells me Arcane is actually this bad, horrendous thing. And he grew up thinking, wow, this thing could actually help people. This thing could actually make people's lives easier. I want to utilize the power of the Arcane so the average person has it. That they can do their work, they can do their jobs, they can live a better life. They can transport themselves faster to places. They don't have to extend themselves, spend more time with their families even. And this is the interesting part about Jace, is that his idealism was infectious. Not only was he able to work with Viktor to make it happen, to make Arcane workable for the average person through Hextech, he was able to sell it. He was able to sell it. He was able to make it seem not so scary. He was a person who could talk, who could get people excited, to show you the magic of a world that could be magical, literally. And Jace's idealism and his inability to really see the negatives in anything that he was doing destroyed him. It caused so many problems. And we saw that all manifest at the end of season 1 to practically the end of the show. where Jace's idealism, and it wasn't just Jace, of course, it was Victor's too. It was Mel's idealism as well. We're going to talk about Mel as well. Jace is idealism. His belief in a brighter tomorrow was a large reason on what happened with the Arcane crisis. He could not see what was happening to the other city. He could not fully fathom that his weaponry, his hex tech would be used for weapons instead. It would have just be using it to help the people in the mining colony. Because that's what he wanted to use it for. Oh, why do I want hex tech? I want people to be able to travel faster. I want people to be able to work better in the mining colony.
Work more efficiently.
That's why he made the gloves. Yeah, it was all the same thing about creating an environment where people didn't have to extend themselves so much. And people were talking in the chat about like, oh yeah, well he unlocked the potential of a hex tech for the people. Potential is something that is not even like necessarily an any base thing as well. I know we're not supposed to talk too much about sociotics here, so I won't stay for too long.
It's fine.
But
it's okay.
There's this idea that the LIE is just making up new procedures, but those new procedures could be utilizing new technology. In fact, that is like the stereotypical way of describing the LIE from most of the Russian descriptions, is someone who is utilizing new technology to work better. And if Jace isn't one-to-one that, I don't know what is. I think it's interesting that both, like you said, Ekko and Jace are both considered to be ILE when they're so different. Jace is clearly a dynamic type, and Ekko is clearly a static type, and you can see it. Ekko's very FI polar. He is very cautious with his relationships with others, and his bonds with others are something super important. Where Jace is kind of fearless in this regard. He just kind of like talks to anybody. He just gets put into systems. He gets involved with other people. It's only literally at the end of Arcane where he's just like, "What the fuck? I can't trust you people." You remember that? Jace was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to interact with you. I'm going to do this with you. We're going to do this. And at the end, he's like, Mel, I can't trust you.
Yeah.
Victor, what's going on with you? You know, it's like, I can't trust nobody. Like, yes, because the world is more complex than that, Jace. You're just fucking vital FI.
He got lost in his idealism. Wow, I'm going to create those hyper-powerful weapons. And I'm sure people will use them for good. It's like, I would be first there. I'm like, bro, look at this. Look at this thing, bro. It's a fucking fist. Someone is gonna get decapitated with this shit. Okay, like, do you really think I would use this thing in a fucking coal mine? No, I'm punching motherfuckers with this thing. Like, he needed someone. Honestly, he needed a Vi. He needed a Vi quickly. He needed a Vi early to tell him, like, bro, that's a weapon of mass destruction, and we like it. We love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna use it to fight people.
Yeah.
Like, no.
In
my idealistic vision, you don't do that. What the hell? he's so delusional. Yeah. And that's why I didn't even like Jason the first season. If I'm honest,
too.
I was like,
it's funny.
So fucking
I was
stupid.
hating on him. I'm like, man, fuck this. I was like, I don't like this guy. I really don't like this guy. He's kind of. I couldn't tell if he's shady. I was like, is he shady? What's this shit? I couldn't read him. But after season 2. He's based.
He's so based. He's probably my favorite character in season 2. Oh, Shibo added a really great comparison. Jace's idealism is extremely similar to the MCU Iron Man's idealism, where the MCU Iron Man is also an LIE Social 7 who is just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna privatize, I'm going to prioritize the security of the world, so everyone's going to be fine. I'm just going to use my money and resources to fix everything, and I'm just going to look good doing it. And realize, oh no, all that technology I gave to everyone, they're killing each other with it now. Oh no, how did this happen? And
how did I not
see literally the same thing with Jace. Yeah, how did I not see this happening? It's almost in my rose-colored glasses. Everyone starts kumbayaing with the technology I provided them. And Jace is the same way. Iron Man is the same way. In they're both LIE Social 7s.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's funny. You are the Social 7. You're like the Jace. You're Jace. You are like the Jace of Typology. Oh my god, you're like the Jace of Typology. Also think people will use Typology correctly. And I'm there to tell you they fucking won't. So we need to have mass decapitations. Oh my god, bro. What
You're
the
so
fuck?
right. And then you're like Vi, where you're like,
Yeah,
we
I'm
gotta
like,
fight these people, and I'm like, no, we can help them. We can just teach them how to use
see,
these
you're
things
being naive right
correctly.
now. You're being
Ah!
gullible. You're being gullible. No, no, we cannot help those people. They're lost, okay? They are fucking lost. No, no, but it's so true. It's so true. And that's the thing about you. You are like, things can work. Like I can see, you can see potential in everything. You see potential in this. Oh, what's your take? Well, let me listen to your take. Maybe it makes sense. Or what's that take? Maybe that makes sense. Oh, maybe I can take things from here and here and here. And I'm like, no. We're committing to a side. We're committing to a side. Fuck that, So we have a good dynamic that way.
We have an extremely good dynamic, and people don't get it, because we don't always agree, but we do agree on a lot of things that are important.
It's weird, because we don't agree on many things, don't we? Like, I guess I don't know though, because you're sneaky. You're sneaky. Don't we actually?
Whoa!
You're kind of a charlatan. So do we actually agree or we don't agree?
I think that we agree on a lot of things.
Okay. Measure it. How much percentage that we agree on?
See, now you're not gonna like this answer, but I'm gonna say now. Okay, if we're gonna start measuring, right?
No,
let's say me and you
wrong
agree
answer.
on this.
Charlatan.
No. We have to. If we're gonna measure, we're gonna measure right. If we're gonna start agreeing on, let's say, maybe people shouldn't harm other people, just like a basic one. And I say, yes, we agree very much. But then we say, oh, I like chocolate ice cream, you like vanilla ice cream.
Typology.
That shouldn't have the same
typology.
weight.
Just typology. No. I see what you're doing. It's not gonna work. Typology. How much do we agree with in typology?
Okay. I think that in terms of like the fundamental ideas of Enneagram, sociomics, PY, I think we agree. I think it's implementation that we do disagree on.
So you'd say 80% we agree on.
Yeah, I would say so. Like, okay, so if I explain to you what I think a social six is, for example, you'll probably nod your head. You explain to me saying this is what a social six is, I'll nod my head. But then maybe we'll find characters that we agree or disagree with whether or not they're actually social sixes. That's where I think might be a problem, But that doesn't mean we don't disagree there too. So I will say maybe 70%, maybe 80%. Yeah, I would say around there, Enough, is good enough to do a podcast. Because you don't want a podcast with two hosts that always fucking agree with each other. That's so fucking boring,
Preferably you'd want a podcast where they argue with each other. They throw objects at each other. That's what everyone wants to see. They want to see hate, anger, destruction, I guess. Or maybe I'm projecting. But that's what that's what they want. They want entertainment. But yeah, no. I think we agree. And I think I'm third logic, you're second logic. And you're one of the only people who doesn't make me have... I can have very weird reactions about certain things. I'm in an environment when I see... Let's say I'm in an environment in a group and I see people worship a system. People worship a certain ideology. People worship... For some fucking reason, I don't know why, I actually discovered I will have such a strong aversion to this system, to this belief, even though maybe I even use it myself. To the point where I will be like, we need to decapitate this. Even though I use it. And it's like the crazy shit, man, I've noticed it. It's like, like, bro, because everyone's worshipping it, they're praying to it. So I see it and I'm like, why is everyone so fucking weird? Like, and it's sacred. This is sacred. So my mind is like, fuck this. Like, I'm pushing it away. Even though I myself, I like it. Maybe I even use this system, whatever. But I'm like, I'm pushing it away. I'm like, fuck this, man. Fuck this. Time to abolish it. Who's with me? It's a fuck fest. It's a fuck fest. Because next week, now it's abolish socionics. Next week, it's abolish Enneagram. Depending where the fuck, luckily in my group I'm fucking having Enneagram people, so maybe that helps. But fuck, bro, it's this problem. And with you don't evoke this sense of kind of response. You just exist and you have your takes and you're kind of like, it's okay, I like to play with logic. And maybe because you like to play with logic, it's not that serious. Maybe that makes me think, it's not that serious, it's cool, it's chill. But if I see some people who fucking truly fucking have their own rituals, I believe in this, I believe in that, I want to be like, burn the village down. Burn the village down. Even if I believe in it. Fuck that, you know? Fuck that. That's why it's this crazy. I honestly just feel like it's Enneagram 8, you know? I just have this such a compulsion to rebel. It's crazy. It's like, I don't know. Like with socionics, you know, I like socionics. But if everyone's glazing socionics, I will be like, fuck socionics. Like, it's the craziest shit ever. Like, what the fuck? I like socionics. But if everyone starts glazing it, I'm like, fuck socionics. I think we should abolish it. I think I should run a campaign against socionics.
A lot of Enneatypes do that, actually. Social A is one of them that takes opposing viewpoints. Social 2 as well, underrated for taking opposing viewpoints, being more of a contrarian as well.
Yeah, and
it happens. Social 7's too. E7's one of the biggest contrarians, you know. But there's this feeling of it being popular doesn't inherit why. You know, why can't why? There's like
it's popular and everyone's glazing it. So there's this like this sense like I kind of believe we should. To me, it's like maybe it has something to do with authority. Maybe it's perceived as this like authoritative. This is sacred and this is how it needs to be. So my mind is like, you know, they're not pushing on you necessarily, but it's kind of that way. So we need to abolish it completely. We need to free that. We need to remove that. You know, it's this weird mind mechanism. Anyway, it's weird as fuck.
Yeah, and I appreciate this little tangent because it's always a good reminder to let people know that E8 at a core level is a rebellious Enneatype. Rebellion is built into this type. Every E8 rebels. They can't help it. It's part of lust. And a lot of people don't see that. They think rebellion is more of like a sexual 6 thing. Funny enough, you know? Yes. But E8 are the true rebels of the Enneagram, for sure.
Yeah.
I also... Sorry, what were you saying?
No, nothing. Go ahead.
I also just want to finish off with the Jace arc because we're talking about neurotically how he progressed and degressed. So I'm going to quickly summarize that.
Okay.
We have someone who kind of grew actually a little bit in season 1 when he realized, I don't give a fuck about what you guys think. I don't care to have this image of being this visionary person. I'm going to do what I think is right. And he tries, and he kind of progresses there away from the social 7's neurotic need to be extraordinary. But then, of course, things do not go well. Tower explodes. Viktor is dying. And eventually you would get to the Arcane crisis where he digresses very hard. And it makes sense. He literally was put into like a dystopian world for God knows how long. And he was under a lot of psychological stress, which made him a lot more neurotic. And when he came back, he actually looked like a crazy person. People were like, he's possessed, you know? Like, and he was neurotically afraid that all that he's done so far with Viktor was going to destroy everything. That he was the cause. His ideals of making a better world was causing everyone to suffer. And eventually, he took that negative feeling, made it less neurotic, and eventually he sacrificed himself with his friend Viktor, not for some greater good reason, because he loved Viktor. And that is it. Just pure, like, friendship right there. And I think that's great because people assume social 7s, they sacrifice themselves. That's just the thing. No, social 7s are charlatans. They're fraudulent. They don't want to take actual risks to themselves if it is going to end, especially if it's going to end their lives, you know? They want you to think that. But Jace giving up his life for his best friend to be there at the end, that was him detaching from his neurotic need to be extraordinary and just to be with his friend in his most trying times. So I'm going to put a little bow tie there for Jace's arc. That's how he resolved that.
Okay, let me see. Okay, let me see. Let's see what we got. I'm getting messages. Okay. This is what we need to discuss. Okay, this is what we need to discuss.
Ooh,
this is
Ambessa.
one of the more questioned types I know some people, even in my circle, thinking she's a sexual one. Many others think she's an SP8. I personally will have. I'm not gonna give you my. I'm gonna give you my breakdown, and also how I view Ambessa. So Ambessa, I view as someone who, it became clear to me that someone who is really power hungry, and all about securing certain positions of power in order to have a better army, have more resources to deal with the Black Rose. Basically, establish a certain position where she's actually able to get what she needs and survive, right? And against a greater foe. She's pragmatic, she's practical, and she's all about strength, right? Who's weak, who's strong. The strong prey on the weak. Don't be a fucking sheep. It's this fixation on toughness, on strength, and just pure brutality and willpower. This woman, her biggest value, the way she judges people, is their will. How willful they are. Will they go against people? Even when we see Mel killing her, that is the only time Ambessa acknowledges Mel as someone who is her equal, which is crazy. Think about it. She just killed her own mother, and her mother is like, "You're a wolf, you know? Like, I accept you, I see you." That's what the fuck it took for her to do that. I mean, to kill her. But that shows certain willingness to be ruthless, willingness to be tough. And this is something that she valued above all else. But again, very all about survival. The social ethics, I'm not sure where they go. I can maybe, if you have a very superficial understanding of social aid, you could be like, well, she's in the army, so she's a social aid. It's like,
she's with people.
Yeah, she's self-interested. She's scheming. She's strategic. She utilizes people. She puts them in a position that they will do what the fuck she wants to secure more power. That's what she did with Singed. Singed, whatever the fuck his name was. That's what she did. I'm gonna give you this place in hierarchy. I'm gonna give you this place, this position, if you give me your weapons. So then I can do my shit. I can fuck shit up myself. In the end, she thought making a deal with Viktor is gonna be the right fucking situation, the right answer to her problems, which is the most ridiculous thing. She lacked any foresight. That woman did nothing. Power, power, power. Just get more power. So to me, I view it as an SP8, and when I was reading the SP8 character, like the description of the SP8, I saw her. She's tough on her kids. That kids needs to be fucking tough. Fight, be tough, be strong. And she seemed more. I don't see any perfectionism. I don't see any fixation of resentment like this. There's nothing. I see no Enneagram 1. I don't know. People say Enneagram 1. Where the fuck do you see Enneagram 1? Forget this sexual one. You're using sexual one as something it isn't. Where the fuck do you see Enneagram 1? I see nothing. I see no Enneagram 1. So that is my personal take on Ambessa's type. Now it's you, Rain.
I think you summarized it extremely well. I'm going to add some parts where people were thinking, okay, this might be a sexual one, because in the first season where we got little tidbits of her, I was like, this isn't the most horrid take of the sexual one. It makes kind of sense in some ways, right? She is someone who, at the end of the day, is kind of a charlatan herself.
She is.
The SP8 has that kind of connection to E7 where
strategic,
they play,
scheming.
They are schemers. They're the most scheming of the E8s. They play those type of games. Not often. They like to be a bit more direct. But she is a politician. She is a leader. She is someone who virtue signals what it is to be a protector, to be this leader who's going to help people, and she wants to help Piltover. And you really go to the basis of her character. She is just someone who wants to protect her livelihood and be this lustful, aggressive person that wants to feel the energy and stimulation of being in conflict with others, winning against each other. She's a real conqueror. And she uses political intrigue and other social skills in that way to convince others that she is a lot more virtuous than she actually is. But she is a true virtue signaler. She doesn't believe in anything outside of power. She likes power for power's sake. She is not a reformer. She doesn't reform anyone. The only person she attempted to mildly reform was her daughter Mel.
Yeah.
And even that, you could argue, was because, as she has said, and I know you like this quote, Russ, you weakened me.
Yeah, you weaken me. Yeah, yeah.
You weakened me. And I know sexual ones are described to be like these conqueror types, especially if you read
but I
Ira
feel like
too.
I feel like now we're getting into this territory where the sexual one lacks any one core traits, and it's like,
Yep.
so they're just a dominant conqueror. Like, but what the fuck does it have to do with Enneagram One? And we kind of lose the essence of Enneagram One. And
I think she's an SLE too.
me too. And people also think, oh, what's the difference between SP8 and a sexual one? I don't want to be rude, but they're not similar, man. You know, and many people are confused. And I'm like, the fact you're confused, you're probably not a fucking SP8, because it's only some shit that fucking sexual one would think, well, maybe I'm an SP8. To me, they're not similar. Maybe I'm a social 8, so maybe for me it's even harder. But in a sense, it should be social 8. You should relate heavily to the sexual one. Like, oh my god, maybe it's my mistype. I could never relate to Enneagram 1. In that sense, I cannot look at the Enneagram 1 and be like, oh, that fits me, maybe I'm Enneagram 1. It's ridiculous. So I don't know how the fuck this... I feel like the community kind of looks at the sexual one almost as it's a different entity. It expresses anger. It expresses frustration, more likely, yes, but this is not someone who's free flowing with anger. There's still frustration. There's still firm, restrained, more likely to be restrained. They're not just someone who fucking goes around expressing shit like this, you know?
A civilized character is the way Narano
A civilized
described it.
character, you know? And
Yeah, a sexual one is still civilized.
and listen, and I feel like sometimes we get lost in the subtype sauce, you know? We get lost in the sauce. It's like, listen, oh, which 8 am I? I'm not sure if you really know if I'm a sexual 4 or a sexual 8. I mean, are you a 4 or are you an 8? It's as simple as that, you know? 8s are 8s regardless of the subtype. And if I don't have books, I don't have the subtype books, right? So but if I read Enneagram 8, I will relate to it regardless. I don't have the subtype books, yet I relate to it because that's my type, you know, with added flavor. But that's a bit of a rant there, but ugh.
No, I just want to add to what you're saying, like really briefly. There's these pseudo 8s throughout the 27 modern subtypes. You have sexual 1 as a pseudo 8,
Yeah.
sexual 4 as a pseudo 8, sexual 6 as a pseudo 8. You have a lot of these like they're kind of treated not like as their core anymore, and just as they're just like E8s, but in like a different in a different group of any types. It's very strange. I just want to leave the chat with one great way to differentiate between a sexual 1 and an E8. This is in Ira as well. They describe that at the end of the day, a sexual 1 is someone at a core level that believes in fairness and rationality. This is a subtype that wants to reform society or whoever that they have their attention on to create more rational sense of how things should be. This is someone that wants to be an acknowledger and a reasoner of standards that everyone should follow. That these are a better societal standards. The E8, especially the SV8, at the end of the day, is there for personal satisfaction. They have their own standards, but it comes from them. This is a personal set
the
of how it should
rebelliousness
be.
is so different, you know? Like the one core is so much more respecting of traditions, of appropriateness, of civility, while you look at an 8 is more animalistic. I mean, I know it's a simple simplification, but that's what it is. It's someone who's more okay with this kind of animalistic, rebellious nature, you know? Like my whole life was marked by rebellion, rebelliousness, and breaking the social norms in that way, and acting in ways that maybe wasn't appropriate in that sense, like socially And one crew will be like, oh no, you shouldn't be this way. Well, why the fuck shouldn't we? You know? So, man, it's the difference is fucking crazy. And hopefully the books will actually show the difference. Because it's exhausting, man, to fucking see it.
For sure.
Let me see. You are social late. I thought you were sexual late. Well, I'm sexual late because I'm loud. And I'm sexual late because, I don't know. I'm loud and I'm intense and I'm controversial. So I'm a sexual late. I don't even blame you. I don't even blame you for thinking I'm sexual late. Because to be honest, right? You see a loud Enneagram 8. Or wow, he's controversial. Fuck. That's a sexual fucking 8. You know, like... but I whenever can you explain social aid? Why?
Let's jump to the vibe.
So we have Ambessa SP8. Ambessa SP8.
Ambessa SP8.
So Vi as the social aid, and Vi was very interesting for me to type because I was split between social aid and self-preservation aid, and I know that seems kind of ridiculous, but she was a hard one because I saw a lot of the complicity in a sense, especially in the beginning of the season 1. You know, we cannot let them do this shit to us. We need to stand up for the city, fighting for her loved ones, always kind of using her abilities for other people. So in that sense, I'm like, yeah, okay, social aid, makes sense. Then this prison scenes, and she kind of started becoming more self-interested in a sense. And I'm like, she's also cold. She's cold. She's very blunt. American Pragmatist once said something very funny that made me laugh about Vi. He said, Vi is the most social blind social aid, which I found so fucking funny and probably very true. Because Vi looks social blind. Genuinely, in a sense, right? For a lot of the show, majority of the show, social blind. Yet, she's a social aid. It's a weird fucking thing. But I would definitely type as social aid because everything she does at the end of the day is to protect the people she loves. And she has a complex with losing the people she loves. She's afraid of losing them. That is why she fights for them. And what happens when she loses Jinx? In the season 2, when the shit goes haywire. She loses Caitlyn, she loses Jinx. She becomes self-destructive because she has nowhere to project this kind of lustful nature, this aggression, this hostility. She has no place. So she goes around fighting. She's a pit fighter. Because she has nowhere to direct all of this lust, all this energy, all this anger, all this aggression. So she just becomes self-destructive. But with Vi, it's always in essence, she's fighting for someone else. She's fighting for the people she loves. And that is why I would go with the social aid, because even if you look at her stereotypical behavior, you can say, well, she's more of a lone wolf and she's an SP8. Where is the neurotic need of the SP8, which you can see with Ambessa very fucking well? There's no neurotic need of the SP8, none at all. But you see an issue, an obsessiveness, and kind of fixation on relationships. Not intensity of relationships, really, not possessing anyone, but relationships themselves, which does fit much better with the social aid. So that was my own personal breakdown.
And I think it's a great breakdown. I remember back when I watched season 1 for the first time many years ago, I was thinking, yeah, why not? SP8 makes a lot of sense. Just cares about her own, you know.
Right.
Doesn't
And
care about the
what do you
world.
think about this idea, though? She's the most social blind social aid. Do you think there's some merit to this?
I think that it's funny because it kind of challenges the way we see the social instinct for more of a stereotypical, like, this is a person who engages like in all groups and communities and wants to have a particular image. And you know what? I would even say that Vi, as a child, kind of said that we're gonna make a name for ourselves in this place. You know,
Yeah, she
people are
was,
gonna know
right?
it.
Yeah. Fuck.
And she got so committed to survival mode for the rest of the series that it just became, I'm just gonna protect my own. This is what we're talking about earlier as a distortion of the instincts, because everyone kind of has more of an SP vibe in this show.
Yeah, it
Ekko has
does.
more of an SP
Yeah,
vibe.
because it's all survival, right?
Yeah,
It's
Vi
just
too.
one big survival.
Yeah, and this can get confusing because most people associate someone who's a social instinct dominant to be kind of like a social butterfly, and that's not true. Social instincts are neurotic with social groups. Throughout the whole series, Vi had to constantly question who she was part of, which group she interacted with. Should I be with this person? Should I not be with this person? I need to protect this person because they're part of my group, but this person's not part of my group. It's actually a lot more of an over it's a complex assortment of relationships and things that challenge the way Vi neurotically saw everything. Where if you look at someone like Ambessa, she was never confused. She never got confused with what she believed in. You know, she had her ambitions, her desires and wants, maybe her family,
Yeah,
and then
by her family, you mean like two people.
yeah, and one of them is, I guess, dead. I think he's dead. So,
Yeah.
and Mel was kind of like more of like, oh, what do they call it? Like a loose end. He felt more like a loose end for Ambessa than anything else.
Seriously.
You know, I never could really get to this like, oh, I love you, Mel, secretly. You know, like I think Caitlyn had a better relationship with Ambessa, or Ambessa cared more for Caitlyn many times.
It's crazy. Ambessa was fucking cold-blooded, man.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god.
But while we're on this topic with what Rashiro says, I want to point something out because I see many people, Andrew Tate, Social 8, the Penguin from the TV show The Penguin, Social 8. And you see this take over and over again because SP7 is a confusing type for them. The Penguin is an SP7. And people look at the superficial kind of presentation of the type, right? So when they see, oh, Ambessa is a leader in an army, and yeah, so she's a social 8, right? But a step further is, okay, the Penguin creates alliances, right? He creates those alliances and he creates complicity, so he's a social 8. And he uses those complicity, but he doesn't care about anyone. But he uses those relationships to get what he needs and get more power. That's a social 8. And it's like, same with Tate, right? He creates more connections. Look at him. He's trying to get connections. So then it's like, the neurotic need of the social 8 is complicity. But that is the difference between social 8 complicity and your complicity is that one is neurotic. That is the difference. So the Penguin from the show Penguin, he can showcase this complicity, which, by the way, is present in SP7. The SP7 will create relations in a group. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. You are loyal to me, I'm loyal to you. We give each other something. We utilize each other, this kind of thing. But it is done for survival. It's done for, can I survive? Can I create those alliances to really secure my position, my survival, my power? You know? It's self-preservation first and foremost. And the social 8 does create complicity, but it's a completely different type. This complicity it feels real. It's fixated on the relationships, and it's fixated on the relational aspect. It's not really, well, I'm doing those fucking relationships because I just want to fucking get more money, and I just want to fucking get more power, and I climb the social ladder. That's not how the social 8 even fucking thinks, you know? Let's create a fucking brotherhood. We're gonna be loyal to each other. We can do great things here. They do believe in that shit. They genuinely do believe in what the fuck they're saying, you know? Because people think, well, yeah, but social 8 is also a charlatan. Like, you know, they believe they're doing this shit for the greater good, but they're just lustful and power hungry. Yes, but it's not as simple. It's not like someone who genuinely is like, I don't give a fuck about any of my friends. In fact, I'm just using them because I want more power. That's not a social 8. That's bullshit. So I'm sorry I'm rambling, but I've seen those takes more and more. They get more. You know, many people go around. No, Penguin is in a social 8. You don't understand social 8. Your mom doesn't understand social 8. That's the only person that doesn't understand social 8. Okay.
I just want to add to what you were saying because I think
Yeah,
this is a good part to plug in SP3 and SP4, SP7.
yeah,
All three of these types have this thing in common, which I like to bring up SP3 and SP7 together. They are people at the end of the day that want to survive, that they're afraid of death, of dying, of being deprived, right? But their core neurotic mechanism all involves other people. The SP3 wants inclusion, which is why they learn all these skills. They want to be allowed into a social group where they feel safe. SP4 wants to follow their ideals. They'll be self-sacrificial. They don't want people to withdraw their affections from them. And of course, the SP7's family, we all know about this, they create networks so they don't get deprived. All of these seem very social instinct, but it's a difference. It's a self-preservation fixated person using a social avenue to indulge and provide themselves safety for their conservation. Big difference. So I just wanted to plug those in because they're
perfect,
all
perfect.
conservations that indulge with social groups.
Okay, I've seen something from Veronica. This one. I typed hers SP1, by the way. SP1 LSC was my typing. Self-preservation one for Caitlyn. But I really don't have much to say about it because initially I was thinking she might be an SP4, which was the terrible typing. I don't know. That was just like, oh, maybe ESI SP4. But she has no 4 traits. Like, why no? Why would she have the neurotic need of the SP4? It's not at all. And I thought as self-preservation one makes more sense. Sometimes my relationship with one course is like, whenever I see a one core that doesn't seem like the other subtypes, it's like it's automatically SP1. It's like that one core which you can't really define very well, but seems like a one, but it's also kind of weird. That's just an SP1, and every single time it's like this for me. It's hilarious. That's my and in season 2, that's when I'm like, she's SP1 because she's like, we fucking need to go deep with this. She was like, she came in a boss. She was bossing people. We need to do it like this. We need to fight like this. Justice. We cannot let it go. She had this resentment. She had this anger towards Jinx, and she was taking even more and more extreme measures to kind of get rid of Jinx. So I saw this authoritative side of Caitlyn, which would never be the SP4, to be honest with you. That's what convinced me.
And I wanted to add to that because I have a few things to say about Caitlyn. Caitlyn, you're not the only person who thought SP4. SP4 was her popular consensus in season 1, and then in season 2, and the community just got a little bit better at typing, went towards E1. Caitlyn is someone who was very bright-eyed, young, was still forming her understanding of the world, and honestly, kind of a shut-in. Like shut in not because she wanted to. Her parents may not shut in as she was like very privileged and protected from the world, clearly. So she didn't have a good idea of how it really functions. I think Caitlyn has always been someone who was deeply into standards, what is considered correct or incorrect, what is morally right and wrong, and of course, perfection. Her perfection really manifested more neurotically because she didn't have a lot of pressure in the first season that would trigger her neuroticness. Uh, she got a lot more neurotic in the second season, and of
She
course, we
did.
know Enneagram is the typology of shit's going wrong for you. And it was very clear that this is a person that when shit is going wrong for them, they withdraw towards standards. They look to implement it in their environment. They want to be an arbiter or reformation. They want things to work and function better. They want people to be good. And if everyone is being good, the world is a good place. Simple as that. Caitlyn got lost in her clear anger towards Jinx, which got diffused into the Undercity, which she, because of her mourning of her family, her mourning of her mother, she transferred that anger using a reaction formation and utilized all of her will to ensure that the Undercity will be reformed, they'll be better, and if not, they will be punished. Because she wanted, like all E1s, for things to be fair, for things to be just, for things to make sense. and none of it made sense
In
to
a
her.
sense, she became more unhealthy in the fucking season 2. We see her in peak unhealthy level.
Exactly. Peak
Yeah.
neuroticism of the E1. I need
Yeah.
to control everything. And I was very torn. I know that the popular consensus for her is SP1 right now. I wasn't 100% sure in SP1. I couldn't really figure out her
Yeah.
dominant instinct. I thought sexual 1 for a second. I was like, that doesn't make sense. I would think that her alternative typing would be social 1. And even social 1, she kind of lacked the arrogance. I don't think Caitlyn is a very arrogant character. I think that a lot of times she is more of this externally warm character when she's not giga neurotic.
Yeah.
I am not happy because she doesn't fit all the traits of SP1. If you ask me, I would say she's an undifferentiated E1 to me. But if you had to hold me to a gun, and there was a lot of guns in Arcane, I will say SP1 is the best fit for her from my perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I think, especially in how we see her in season 1, I think that's much more of an SP1 than it is of. And she was very self-perfecting, you know. She had that kind of proper vibe, like she wants to be good, but she wasn't very enforcing of it towards others as much.
No, it was only in season 2 where she became more of this enforcer, literally an enforcer.
Well, she was put in this position where now it's on her shoulders, you know. So now it's a different ballgame.
Yeah, and Veronica made a really great point. Compare this with Ambessa, who is definitely doesn't stand for anything if you can consider Caitlyn in season 2 and Ambessa in season 2. Caitlyn has so many fucking idealized ways of seeing reality in a very E1 way. E1s are also idealizers too, just like E7s, just like E4s, you know. They're and you can see Ambessa being so much more grounded in almost every sense. Caitlyn couldn't see the world for what it is, and she forced the world to kind of.
Why do we need to really butcher them and decapitate them? Do we need to do those things to them and act so vicious? And Ambessa's like, yeah, of course we have to fucking do that shit.
yeah.
We need to use violence, and we need to do that. Yeah, for sure.
Either you do the violence or someone does the violence to you. I think I prefer to do the violence. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not that hard, bro.
It's simple. She's like, but this isn't right. It shouldn't need to be this way. It's like this standard of perfection that is not yet fulfilled, which cannot be fulfilled because perfection doesn't exist, you know. So it's such a interesting attitude towards reality that both Ambessa and Caitlyn has. So then, lastly, is Jinx.
Oh my God! Do we go through that list already? Jinx is.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all.
Favorite.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't know. I mean, obviously we have two typings on the table. If we're being serious, ESI is a dog shit typing. First of all, socionics wise, ESI is a dog shit typing. I think she's an IE. I do think she's an IE. Now in socionics, now in Enneagram, it's like I can see sexual 7 and I can see sexual 4 arguments, and that is why I am confused. That's my personal thing. I'm just confused. But maybe Mr. Ring.
Oh yeah, I got some thoughts. Just like many of you, I opened the show, I saw the pretty colors, I saw the fantasy, I saw all these great fantastical things happening in the mind of Jinx, and thinking this is someone who's a positivist, not in a socialist sense, but a literal someone who seeks positivity. I thought she was a sexual 7. I thought she was someone who gravitated towards being in these great optimistic feelings of idealization, being in fantasy, losing herself to her own imagination and to other people, and feeling like everything is going great. And that's when it hit me, especially after I rewatched season 1 and watched season 2 for the first time. Jinx is not an E7. Jinx is a sexual instinct, but Jinx is actually an E4. And she is an unhealthy version of an E4, you know? People would like to say, well, of course she's a sexual 4. She killed people. Which is, like, really fucking stupid, right? We're going to talk about why she's a sexual 4.
Yeah.
And not a sexual 7, because I don't think there's been any other arguments for other types. Jinx has been neurotically fixated on the idea that the world has taken things from her. And we see this. Vander has taken things from her. Her siblings took things from her. Vi took things from her. Even Silco took things from her. And Jinx goes through these phases of like, she idealizes the people around her. She wants to listen to their authority. Then what happens is, ooh, you know what? This doesn't feel right. Frustration occurs. And she does that very signature sexual 4 thing, devaluation. She starts openly devaluing the people that she used to idealize.
What
That's a
about
big.
this question though? Where's Envy?
Where is envy? She's been envious of everyone. Where is not envy? She was envious of her position of her sibling. She was envious she wasn't Vi. She was envious of
Oh
the
yeah.
way initially she like her relationship to everything was these people have stuff. Their lives are better. I'm here suffering. I'm the one struggling. They never loved me. It's been a constant envy. It is not this person who
Yeah.
wants to simply just lose themselves in fantasy, think everything is good, and when things are bad, she just leaves and that's it. The sexual 4 is someone who is an active devaluer. Yes, the sexual 7 can be depressed. Yes, the sexual 7 can devalue others, but they will prefer not to do that. That is a big difference between the sexual 7 and the sexual 4. The sexual 7 will just escape, be non-committal, and come back when they feel optimistic and positive again. The
What about Jinx when she's in the healthy era, in the
oh
alternative?
yeah, and of course, this is where it becomes interesting because Jinx becomes less neurotic in season 2. Comes and it, of course, digresses, regresses. You know, like it goes back and forth. But I just want to finish my point about devaluing before I get to the neuroticness of her untwining. Right? She actively devalues Silco. After idealizing him, she actively devalues Vander before while idealizing him. And of course, you can see this most with Vi. She devalues Vi. She is competitive against Caitlyn. How dare you try to replace me with that other woman? There is gender competition as well with sexual 4. I'm not going to make it the biggest part of my argument here, but there is so much competition. And that is what even Ichazo was positing as well, you know, at least what Naranjo tell us he was positing, that the sexual 4 is competitive. They have a competitive hatred where they feel like they have to prove themselves. They have to prove that they were the ones that should have been chosen. And she devalues everybody. And guess what? What does she do again? Just like a good sexual 4, she begins to re-idealize them. Oh, actually, I love Silco. Actually,
Yeah,
Vander
she
was my
was on.
father.
That annoyed me. Yeah, she was back and fucking forth, back and fucking
That is
forth.
very sexual 4. That is extremely sexual 4 to go in that cycle. It is if anyone here has read Nvidia, you know, not the graphics card, you fucking nerds. Nvidia, the fucking Naranjo book, right? You will see them actually highlight this exact process. And they're there the whole time. Yeah, they withdraw like an E4, but they will let you know. If you're close to them, they'll let you know they devalue now. They don't like you anymore. They're frustrated with you. And then you'll go back to be idealized. They love you so much. You're the best thing that's ever happened to them. This is the bipolar tendency of the sexual 4 in a nutshell. Jinx has shown that over and over again. I think almost like a caricature of the first season, you know. But the second season, you see someone who's more withdrawn, who more or less neurotic. A less neurotic sexual 4 is someone who doesn't feel the need to be competitive, to blame their situation on others, and to be more balanced with their emotional states. That is a less neurotic sexual 4. And I saw Jinx that way. She took more care of her life. She took more responsibility over others. She didn't blame her sister for everything anymore. Vi did this. Vander did this. Silco made me this.
Yeah.
Everything has happened. And in the second season,
Yeah.
I'm just Jinx. You know, I'm just fucking trying to live. I don't want to be a hero to nobody. I just want to get away from everything. That is a big upgrade to the mass murderer Jinx, you know, of the first season.
Yeah, that's a big fucking step up.
Yeah. She is extremely sexual 4, and it is her absolute best fit. She is not the sexual 7. She's not like a Deadpool who turns everything into this optimistic fun time, and if they're sad, they're quiet and like isolated. The sexual 4, if you're close to them, and we saw 3 relationships where she was super close to people, she'll let you know. I mean, they'll let you know how they feel about you, you know? And I think that at the end, she chose to take responsibility over her own life, and that is a huge step in the right direction for the sexual four. That, and she became less neurotic in that way. She took
What
responsibility
the
over her life and
fuck?
others. So that's my thinking.
Oh, you committed one of the greatest crimes.
Wait,
No
what?
fucking man.
What did you? Am I reading
Did
this
you
question
just
right?
say the fucking soundtrack was the most goated, the most golden, the most beautiful soundtrack is the problem with Arcane?
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god, dude. And your name is the Crimson King? Yeah, and you're referencing King Crimson, you know?
I am pissed.
And
I'm so
I thought you had
fucking
good music
upset.
taste, but now you're gonna say it's
I'm
shit.
upset. I'm fucking
Yo,
upset. As
you know what?
can see.
Chat, decapitate him.
Mass
I'm the social alien
decapitation.
now.
He's the social. Oh shit. Okay. He's the social. I'm the social 7. Guys, there's always a benefit to be seen in people's different opinions, and maybe this person is just too smart for their own good.
You're gonna let this degenerate walk in our communities?
You need to relax. Okay. You need to. I cannot even fucking LARP. I guess it's 7 core. I can do it. It's too difficult.
You're gonna have to choose us or them. Are you gonna choose this degenerate who can't recognize good music?
Damn, he spends a lot of time around certain people. Then damn. No, but Ring,
Yeah.
you just listen. You're being extreme right now. You're being extreme.
You're right.
There's
You're
a
right.
middle ground there. And
Absolutely.
maybe listen, he has a different takes in music, but it doesn't mean you cannot learn something from it. You know, share that experience because it can definitely help you grow. And I know you like to grow, and growth is good for you and your soul.
right.
So of course you want to do that, don't you?
You know,
Wink, wink.
I almost lost myself there. You're right. He has a place in this community. It might be in our jails, but he has a place.
That's fucking funny. That is hilarious. But I love the freaking the French song with
Oh, it's so good.
fuck, bro. I listened to that shit like 150, 200 times when it was released. I was like, oh my fucking god, bro. Fuck.
Shiba, I'm not gonna take that, okay? I love Enemies, but Imagine
Love
Dragons song
pop?
was. Yo,
What?
Shiba was like saying, "Oh, that
Pop is
one
not real
Imagine
music.
Dragons song."
Pop is not real music. Pop is not real music. Pop is
Whoa, whoa! What's going on?
So, are you saying Justin motherfucking Timberlake is better than the soundtrack of Arcane?
Bro, I never thought I would have this comparison in my head. I'm not even ready for it, bro.
And you just did. You just said it. This is outrage. This is genuine outrage. Listen, I'm not saying Justin Timberlake is bad. I like Justin Timberlake, and I've listened to many of his songs. But that's kind of comparing it. Justin Timberlake, fucking Arcane. Arcane soundtrack is beautiful. Beautiful. Justin Timberlake is fun. Fun. No depth. No beauty. Beautiful, no depth. Mate, I'm a prog wanker.
Oh, progressive. Yeah, he listens to like prog metal or progressive rock.
No, Crimson, I know what you're suffering from. There's this thing going
Save
on.
him.
You know what you have though? You hate anything that has depth. Like anything that is deep and is kind of like emotional. You hate it. You think, oh, what a fucking joke. Lol, fucking cringe. And corny, you know? So maybe you dislike music that seems kind of like dwell into emotionality and shit, you know? Which is weird, obviously.
You know, let's psychologically break this shit down. I think people who are not able to enjoy pop music,
I
especially if
love
it's
pop
something that-
music though. I
I love
it.
pop music. I like it too. It's fun, you know? I think the people who were not able to enjoy pop music, especially growing up, is because of a feeling of not being able to fit in and connect to other kids of their age who thought it was popular, and eventually it turned into a societal thing where they feel like they don't belong. That's my hot take, psychology wise.
What the
It was a feeling of
fuck?
the pop music became an avenue of something they couldn't relate to, and thus they couldn't relate to groups, thus they couldn't relate to society, and
The
because of that, they
fuck?
had to double down in
Oh
what
my
they actually
god, bro,
like
you need to
and
calm
make an
down.
identity out of it. That's what I'm saying, bro. That's my hot take.
How the fuck did this become like a Jungian? Wait, but Jesus, Carl Jung moment. Damn. He's like, just like what you like and listen to whoever. Do not give. Why are you giving people freedom? What is this? Freedom.
Yeah, hold up.
Come
Hold
on,
up.
bro.
Arrest him.
Arrest him. Put him in jail.
Eliminated.
Mass decapitation. Why would this dude actually said like what you like? Can you imagine telling someone you can like what you like? You can only like what I like. I thought that's clear already.
Yeah, bro, you have FI in the ego slot. That means you can tell everybody they're wrong about what they like. It's so easy, bro.
Well, I mean, that's what we do with aesthetics. You have like a bunch of LSIs telling you, well, that's actually very ugly and you should listen to me because I'm really way smarter. I'm very aesthetically gifted. And you're like, oh, okay, he knows
so
better.
good.
So if I say, hey, listen, what you like is dog shit, you should be like, okay, I'll stop liking it. You know?
This voice is amazing. I don't know where you got it from the recesses of your mind, but it's perfect. Every LSI united under that one voice right there. It was perfect.
Wait, was it high pitched? It was like, well, no. That's
I
more
don't
like
even know,
confused.
bro. It was great though.
Well, no. See, if that's more like, I'm a confused man. That's not LSI. LSI is not, I'm a confused man.
You were so posh, bro. You were so posh. It was good.
No. Interesting.
Yo, we forgot about Singe from Arcane.
Oh my god.
We gotta do Singe.
No, I'm good night. Just listen. Honestly, I don't know about Singe because I know people who say SP5. I can see why, but he's also very different in his attitude to logic than someone like Viktor. He was very linear. Singed was a scientist who believed in science, and he was very, even when he was asked if he believed in evolution, like some bullshit, whatever the fuck, he's like, no, I believe in science. Science is the only thing that exists.
All right. I agree with you. Honestly, I don't know what Singe's Enneagram type is. He's just.
Let's throw a hot take. Let's throw a hot take. But such a hot take, everyone's gonna be baked. Sexual 6.
I heard of this one before. It
By
makes
the way,
sense.
Javier kind of. I don't want to take the credit because I didn't fucking make it up. But Javier was the originator of this take. What do you think about this?
The same reason I can't validate SP5 or not, I can't validate Sexual 6 or not, because I just don't feel like I understand what's going on in his head. Like, except I love my daughter a lot, and I want to save her, and my whole story is around that. And it's just like, I wish there was a little bit more. I wish we got some, like, background on what goes on in his
there's no
head.
character, to be honest with you. There's really no character to type, you know? Fuck.
I just want to bring up, I know we were already talking about Jinx, but I wanted to say that I don't hate ESI for her, by the way.
You don't
And
hate,
I know
I just don't see how she would be an ESI, you know? She looks like she has extremely impulsive emotions, which she imposes on other people. So I don't see how she would be anything like an, you know. I would rather take SCE even over.
I think SCE is also fine too. I think I could really see. I don't want to type exclusively with super ego. When it comes to sociotics, I know that's been like a trend recently. But
yeah,
I do
it's
really
a fucking
see,
super ego typing everywhere we go.
I could definitely see Eddie TI in terms of being a problem spot for her. I'm not a fan of Eddie base for her. I can see where you're coming from for SEE as well.
Yeah.
I think that it's possible a manifestation of ESI could look exactly the way it looked for her, especially because this idea of being someone who is always looked down upon by others, always pushed around, never given a place in society really until maybe like what, Silco, right? She honestly reminds me like a character. If you ever watch My Hero, like Dabi, who is also goaded ESI sexual for, you know. I think that she is more likely to be ESI than she would be in IEE and even in SCE. It's just a manifestation of ESI that's not commonly seen because most people's understanding of an ESI is through SP4 or that previous like meta where ESI was like Karen, you know. I think that there's versions of ESI that can be a bit more volatile, especially when there's major dysfunction with the way society treats them. Same way I could see social 8 versus sexual 8. A social 8 SEE feels very different than a sexual 8 SEE. And I feel like the difference is the type of traumatic experiences society has provided them. You know, that's what it is at the end of the day. So that's my hot take. I think she is ESI over IEE and SEE. But I can totally
true that,
understand.
you know, when you look at her, you fucking don't imagine ESI. That is true.
No, I completely agree. I think she just fits a very particular archetype, like Dabi, and Roshiro said in the comments too, Obito, all ESI sexual fours that get mistyped as like extroverted types, but they're actually led and accept by their FI. But that's my hot take. I don't want to get into 8 different functions and blockings and information debate. You know how sociologics conversations go. That's really nice. I agree with your super ego. But tell me about that vital ring, huh? How does that vital ring fit? I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
Give me 20, 30 minutes.
I know. It can be a mess sometimes. It can be a mess.
I just want to put my hot take out there and say that I really think ESI makes sense for her.
Okay. Well, I'm open-minded. You're not getting decapitated. I'm just... As you can see, I'm just fucking yeah. Whatever you think, bro.
Yeah.
That's my. I'm just trying to adopt that thinking. Whatever you think, you believe in unicorns. You believe astrology is the best thing ever. Okay, I guess I'm trying to do that.
That's cool and all, but if you think you're a unicorn, but you don't think you're a Capricorn in astrology, that's a correlation mess. I want to fix
be
that.
honest, if I was in astrology. I was once in an astrology server, and then I was there, and then I said astrology isn't real, and I got banned, obviously.
That vibes you, bro.
I will be honest with you though. I'll be honest. Like, there's such a huge conflict between if I like this person. Let's say I'm in this environment and this is such a sweet person, I like them, they're just the nicest person ever, you should be nice and kind towards them. Then they tell me they love astrology and they believe it's real. For me, I don't want to, I cannot be around them. I cannot. Like, I believe it's ethically fucked up to believe astrology is real. Like, it's ethically wrong to believe that because it is not the reality. It's a lie. You are living in a lie. You are living in a delusion. So I'm not going to let you live in a delusion around me, around my proximity, because like my proximity is reality. So anyone who is near me, that's reality. So if you are near me, but you are in delusion, we need to decapitate. We need to be like, no, that's not reality. Let's get you back to reality. You are not a fucking Gemini. You're just confused. I'm the Gemini, right? So I just can't stand people with different opinions. I meant not different opinions, but wrong opinions, okay? So,
big difference.
No, it's no, bro. I don't. Maybe it's like just being extroverted sensing. Type in Jungian. I literally cannot accept something that's not based in like in anything tangible. Like it's people say, well, typology isn't real. Typology is about fucking personality, and it's based on fucking Jungian type. It's rooted in something that is realistic. There's realism there. But astrology, it's about the movement of the planets and what time you're born in. Like, what time you're born? Like, how is this related to your personality? The movement of the planets decides your personality? I think it's ridiculous. So, even though I might love you as a human being and I think you're the sweetest, I have to remove myself because we will have an ideological conflict, and a big one. Wait till you realize that you're living in the truth is the kind of a delusion. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Wait till you realize you're living in
Oh my God.
in the truth. It's kind of a delusion too.
How is that delusion? Well, I'm living in the truth. That doesn't make sense. If I'm living in, I'm gonna start crying. I'm gonna start crying now. But I know what you're saying, though. Jokes aside, I know what you're saying. So that's the flaw, right? Oh, I think I'm the only one living in the truth. Everyone around me is delusional. So I can enforce my truth on them. But because I have this thinking, I'm also delusional. Because I believe that I'm the only one who's not delusional. So I am delusional. Right? You're right. I don't like that you mentioned it, obviously, but you mentioned it. And you are right. I think it's hypocritical. Which is why I don't have any friends who are into astrology. So I don't need to be a hypocrite, They're not right. I think he's referring to presentation as opposed to will. Maybe because of the gamma rays and different times of the year, it can. Oh my God!
Don't do it, Rust. Don't do it. He's just cooking.
God,
he's not a good chef, but he's cooking.
Oh my God! I'm gonna die. No. Listen. I don't know. I think it's a constant battle. It's a constant daily battle. I think of not being. Just yeah, it's a constant fucking battle, just be reasonable. Be a reasonable. You want people to be free thinkers. You want people to believe what they want to believe because they should be free from the oppressive forces of the world. But then you also don't like it that they're free. I know what I really need. I need people to agree with with all of my ideals. And when they will agree with all of my ideals, then I'll tell them, you can think whatever you want. You are free to do anything you want. I think maybe that's what the fuck is. Maybe that's what's true here. Moon being counterate connected with your aquarium caprice and makes you a Gemini. I don't know what the fuck this is, but I agree with it. I actually read the Gemini and I'm like, that's kind of me. It's a bit of that me. But then they say some weird, strange things about the Gemini, and I'm like, I don't relate to that. Rust is such an Aries. I need to. Okay, I'm gonna Google that. So I'm very curious. Maybe we should do. Don't get me cooked. Once I start cooking astrology, it's over.
Oh my God, is this time for some astrology Odyssey?
Like, because oh my God, bro, do you bro, do you know how fucking popular astrology is? Like, it's astrology ridiculous. Is huge on you. If we made a fucking podcast with astrology and we'd be like the experts of astrology, this movement of this fucking planet, this sun, means you're kind of a donkey. Like, we could honestly, we could go far. We could actually go far. But am I willing to sell my soul to the devil? Not really. That's the problem.
Yep, that's how you know we have morals here at Typology Odyssey, because we could
Rusted astrology.
Be killing ourselves.
If you're April Fools, oh my God, thank you. What the fuck? I never thought of that. Enneagram astrology correlation. Jesus.
You know what? The Crimson King, you can leave the community jail.
Yes. You've been forgiven for your atrocious sins and the crimes against the rusted empire. We forgive you. But I feel like they would hate me on the astrology. Can you imagine a bunch of like women, 40-year-old women, like with blue hair? This man, he's oppressive and he wants to spread his ideological, astrological truth. We need to stop him. And I'm like, mass decapitation. leave no prisoners. All the blue hair, you know, like it's crazy, bro. Like it would be fucking hilarious. That hate me. They would hate me. What types are more likely to believe in astrology? On like, I don't know. You know, I mean, I know sexual 7. To be honest, like okay, like Enneagram wise, sexual 7. Sexual 7 would believe in astrology for sure. Respectfully, bro, the average typology. Wait. Respectfully, bro, the average typology fan doesn't even like you. In astrology, you would stuck at his shoot. That's actually fucking hilarious. Can you imagine the chaos? You know, I'll make a fucking astrology challenge just to fuck with them, like just to like create influence in the astrology community and start like going fucking heavy with it. I don't know, but it's too much time. Too much time to do stuff. No, but you're right. You're right. Sometimes I watch my own videos and I'm like, wow. I don't know this guy and I don't like what he's saying. That's what I think. But okay, guys, the ring. We have a few minutes. We have like four minutes left.
Yeah, everyone. You know what? Give us your questions. We'll take anything typology related.
4 minutes, guys. That and you know what they say. Time is precious, and that's 4 minutes. So
yeah. Time is the money.
Time is the money.
So get your questions in, and yeah. Oh, and Veronica, I wouldn't go by Jinx Sexual 4 to be a reason not to type it. Jinx Sexual 4 ESI is someone who's so completely unhealthy, it's not even relevant. It's just her best fit type. She's not the average Sexual 4, for sure. Oh, okay.
Russ is an SE. Do you read books other than typology? Napoleon was an SE and an avid reader. We don't listen. I'll be honest about this Napoleon thing. I'm not even sure Napoleon was actually an SE. Okay, and I'll tell you why. Because it depends on which biography of Napoleon you will read. Some of them you'll read it and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, SE makes perfect sense. Some of them you read it's like, okay, gloomy, depressive nerd who's kind of autistic and doesn't know how to deal with people. And it's like, it just depends which camp you really prefer. But I would not call myself an avid reader in the traditional sense where I'm like, oh shit, let me open my new collection of books. You know, I am a reader okay, I like to read information, if that makes sense. I like to learn, right? Reading for me, it's related to learning information. There are some people who like to read like certain books like science fiction, novels. I've never understood the appeal. Okay, I'm gonna read a fucking novel. I don't understand it, to be honest. So I like to read stuff that helps me. I don't know. It stimulates me. I learn new things, information. Basically, just a lot of information. But no, I don't really fucking read books, like physical books, you know. Okay, let me see. Recommend your top 5 books. I don't have books, bro. I'm telling you, I don't read those books. My top 5 books, it would be like
Oh my god, we didn't do Mel. We didn't forget Mel.
The Social 2 got ignored, bro. It's fucking over, guys.
Holy fuck. We're so bad at this.
Okay, no, listen. Mel was Social 2, guys. I promise. That's it.
Yo, to be fair, she never was truly neurotic in that way. I think Social 2 was the best fit. There's not much to say about her in that way. I think she's a great character. I think she makes a bad representation for an Enneagram type. That's what I would say.
I agree. I don't look at her and be like, wow, what an amazing
2's
example of the Social 2. I don't,
Yeah.
but it's the best. It's like the best type we can have for Mel, you know,
Yeah.
Social 2. But guys, listen. We need to go. So when will we do the next stream?
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking maybe at minimum we could do this upcoming Sunday. But that Friday time slot was pretty good, and we're gonna announce it all
Because they
later
said they
today.
want more, right?
They want more? Shit, dude.
I
Damn.
mean, remember when they said they want 2 rather than 1?
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah. That's true. That's true. All right. I
Maybe,
mean,
well, of course not. Yeah. I'm not even gonna be available on Tuesday and Wednesday. I mean, I can do it Thursday. I can do it Friday. Personally,
let me see my calendar.
I'll be busy on Tuesday. Yeah, we could do Friday and Sunday maybe. What you think?
Yeah, Friday and Sunday looks good again. So everyone's still here. Mark your calendars for 2 p.m. EST or 8 p.m. CET. 2 hours with R&R Typology Odyssey.
R&R Typology Odyssey, guys. It was very fun. Thank you for all of the questions, and stay tuned for more. Twice a week, we are taking over Typology. Let's go. As planned. Thank you, Veronica, for all the help in the chat. By the way, to the moderation team, to all of you guys, and Javi Kami also in the back. I appreciate it. Thank you for posting the notifications and always making sure that the chat and the environment is peaceful. We love you guys.
Shoutouts. Love you, mods.
Okay, we're going now. It's time to part. It's time to say goodbye. It's time to say goodbye.
Until next time.
Until next time.